chapter begins with Bakugo, Nejiri, Tamaki, Mirko, and Edgeshot coming out of the portal. Best Jeanist is panicked that Deku isn't there and asks what happened. Bakugo replies that he was probably pulled out by someone. Tamaki starts to panic because One for All was the basis of the plan. Nejiri says they need to inform everyone, and Mirko just wants the fight to start soon. Okay, so let's just establish how we got here. So in the previous chapter, we saw that the heroes' plan was pretty much coming together. They had momentarily trapped the villains and then split them up to various locations using Kurogiri's Warp Gate quirk through Monoma using his own quirk. And this split the villains up so that the heroes' individual teams would be able to execute their own individual plans. And as we see here, the team that was supposed to take on Shigaraki was supposed to include Izuku, but at the last second before Toga was completely transported to her own location, she was able to pull Izuku with her, throwing a wrench into the hero's plan, of course, but also kind of throwing a wrench into All for One's plan as well, because he kind of wants Izuku there with Shigaraki so that in his own strategy, Shigaraki would be able to take One for All from him. But now Izuku is with Uraraka, Tsuyu, and a few other heroes taking on the group that was exiled with Toga. Shigaraki's eyes are completely white and he analyzes the situation. Since he can see the buildings below, he soon realizes that they are on a surface floating in the sky. None of the fugitives or members of the Liberation Front are there, so he will have to deal with this all on his own. P.S. He uses Boku, All for One's first-person pronoun. So yeah, we also saw that UA is like straight up floating on this platform, and on that platform it has like these pillars coming out of it that has like this net connecting to it in a dome. And as we're going to find out in these spoilers, this is of course all for the purpose of neutralizing Shigaraki and his decay quirk most of all. He touches the ground and begins to use his decay, but underneath the floor are the iron plates, and at the same instant they are propelled upward and launch Shigaraki into the air, causing him to touch the force field and be electrocuted. So yeah, as it says, he tries to use decay and send the shockwave, but the ground that it's on shoots up into the air because it's like iron plates, as it says, and it also shoots him into the air, and like I said, it has the pillars with the net around them, so he's hitting that and getting electrocuted. So yeah, this is like a near perfect strategy to nullify him. Before he can recover from the shock, Best Jeanist holds him down with huge wires and throws him to the ground. He soon tears these wires and realizes that the expelled plates are crumbling in midair, making him understand that this is a mechanism designed to neutralize the decay propagation. Shigaraki then tries to provoke Jeanist by saying that he just has to destroy it repeatedly, and that will be the end of his strategy. But in the next instance, we see the destroyed floor being replaced by new plates. Jeanist says he doesn't need to worry because they have plenty of resources. Jeanist concludes by saying that this is an air fortress created specifically to defeat Shigaraki, and we see a bit of the inside of this structure. Power Loader comes out of a wall, warning Cementos of the plates that were destroyed, and he says that they will start the construction. Hatsume asks Momo to provide the metal plates, but forgets her name. Momo introduces herself and says that her friends call her Yaomomo. And in the background, we see Lunch Rush preparing food so that she could use her quirk for a longer period of time. So once again, it goes back to the great strategy here. Plates shooting out of the ground if Shigaraki were to touch them using decay, which is essentially all of the ground that he is on. And these plates can be replaced by Yaoyorozu here, but as we know, her quirk is dependent on her lipids, which she replaces by eating food, and this is where Lunch Rush comes back into play. A character I don't think we've seen or even heard mentioned for like a very long time, but I personally only really remember him being talked about in like, I think season 1 or season 2, like when the students are eating lunch for the first time, I think. So that's nice of Horikoshi to use the whole cow here. Every hero kind of playing their part, and we're gonna see that later on in these spoilers too. Best Jeanist says that they are fully aware of Shigaraki's power based on the previous war and the battle with Star, and Hatsume herself suggested the idea of this arena to neutralize him. We see a brief flashback of her coming up with it and how this was incorporated into the modifications previously made by the principal. This upgrade was only possible thanks to the collaboration between Momo, Cementos, Power Loader, and Ectoplasm. The electric force field was made from huge cables of energy coming out of a single platform. There we see Kaminari, Fugadashi, and 2 other students from the other school years releasing as much electricity as they can. Fukadashi is holding the onomatopoeia gu, the sound of a thunder. Genis's speech continues, and he says that no one there cares about money or prestige. They just want to protect the tomorrow. We see Bakugo and Mirko heading towards Shigaraki, and he thinks about deflecting with the shockwave quirk, but he is unable to use it. The reason is simple. Monoma is nearby, sitting in a chair next to Aizawa while copying his erasure. Manuel is with them, using his water to prevent Monoma from blinking. As long as they are together, Monoma's time limit can be recharged as many times as they need. Okay, so this is really cool. One of my favorite aspects of the previous war was how we saw that initial hero unit work together to neutralize Shigaraki. And one of the big components there was like Aizawa and Manuel along with Endeavor. Since one of Aizawa's eyes was damaged, he is limited in his ability to use his own quirk, but now that he has Monoma as a conduit who has both of his eyes intact, they can implement the same strategy that they did before, along with Manuel giving him constant eye drops. The problem is that now it was time for Midoriya to use all his strength to finish off Shigaraki, but now he isn't there, and that's when another problem arises. Countless hands start sprouting from Shigaraki's arm. So yeah, this is like the big foil of their grand plan. Like, everything is going according, and it was essentially going to work out, but an anomaly happened with Toga pulling Izuku due to an impulsive emotional action, of course, and now they're kind of screwed, I guess, because they can only really hold off Shigaraki for so long, right? I mean, he's way more powerful than all of them, even when he's being neutralized by the erasure quirk, and we see him sprouting like these hands from his arm. This is very similar to what we saw in chapter 341 when Spinner was observing Shigaraki like in their little hideout cave. Shigaraki was like Tetsuoing out, like he was having like that mutation thing going on that kind of implied that maybe he wasn't fully under control of his powers, but now it just appears that maybe this is like a new version of possibly the quirk that we saw All For One using against All Might back in the Camino battle, because when he made that big arm, we saw like little hands coming off of it. And we've also heard All For One talk about how quirks mesh together and become like something different. So this is probably a result of that, along with just the overwhelming power that Shigaraki has and just the quirk singularity in general. Mirko asks Bakugo what the heck this is, and he replies that he doesn't know. He didn't use it last time. Aizawa then remembers that Shigaraki was incomplete during the battle at Jakku. The chapter ends with Shigaraki saying that he always thought Eraserhead was cool, but now he's disappointed with his role in the plan. At the same time, he sends those hands towards Mirko, and although the decay isn't working, we can see some blood coming out of her. Okay, so I'm assuming this is like a false death for Mirko. I really doubt that Horikoshi would kill her here, because he killed plenty of heroes in the original war and he already completely maimed her and gave her a false death before, so it would just be like unnecessary to do it here. I mean, he could, but like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much it for the spoilers. Let me know what you guys think about these in the comments, and if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.